Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my channel, Learn Math with Syed Ali. So we are facing pandemic COVID-19 and we are helping to reduce the spread of COVID-19. So we are isolating at home to avoid spreading illness to others. Schools are remain closed and I have started this channel to provide some educational material to the students. And we will be continuing the topic application of percent. And today we will be learning this application which is called simple interest. Simple interest, it is the interest which is calculated only on the principal amount. So which is calculated only on the principal amount. So three things are important to calculate interest, and the formula is like to multiply all those three commodities or three known factors. So there are four factors in this formula. One is interest, of course, because we are calculating simple interest. So formula is interest is equals to P, which is capital P, times R, small r, times T, which is small t. Now we have to define each of everything in this formula. So formula is I is equals to simple interest is equals to P times R times T, PRT, right? So you have to remember this formula for a longer time. And then on top of this, when you will be in the high school, you will be getting more complicated problems on percent, which is compound interest formula. And here, what we have to define is I is interest in dollar, of course. If your currency is something else, like then you can use that currency. So, and P is the principal amount, right? What we are taking from the bank, principal, right? In dollars, what we are taking. So we have to settle a rate with the bank, that what percent of the rate is always in percent because we have done it, right? Rate is how much rate is provided by the bank, that what they will be charging, right? And how much time we are investing in or we are taking borrowing. So this is interest is like either way. If you are borrowing, there is the interest, and if you are not borrowing but it is putting into the bank, you will get the interest, right? So I is equals to P times R times T. P is the principal, R is the rate in percent, and T is the time. But remember, this time must be in years. So if there is another quantity is given, like in months or something fraction, you have to convert that time into years, right? For example, if in question it says that 1 year, time is 1 year and let's say 3 months, right? 1 year and 3 months. So 3 months is not recommended here because you need to put time in years. So that means you have to change this 3 months into year. In decimal, of course, it will be a fraction of a year, but what fraction? So you know that 1 year has got 12 months. So you have to divide 3 divided by 12 to get the years, or convert this months into years. So you convert, instead of 3 months, you will write 3 divided by 12, right? And 3 divided by 12 is equals to 1 divided by 4. So that means you calculate it as 1 whole and a 1 by 4 years. 1 and a 1 by 4 years, right? And 1 by 4 you can see in decimal. If you want to see 1 by 4, what is 1 by 4? 1 by 4 is 1/4, that is 0.25. So you can say that your years are 1.25 years, right? So you can use this or you can use this, but you cannot use 1 year and 3 months because this time is in year. So hope you understand. If you receive anything like times other than years, you have to change that number into the years, right? So now at least you know that how to change if the months are given, right? So months are to be divided by 12 to get the year. All right, so now we move forward. So we have the formula I is equals to P times R times T. Everything is clear. I is interest in dollars. When you multiply principal amount times the rate times the year, which is time period for which the money is borrowed or money is submit it in a saving account or in an accelerated account, whatever, you have to fix the rate with the bank, right? So for the example for this application is, I will say a simple question. Let's say that Steve deposited $500 into a bank account, right? 500 into bank account at the simple interest rate of 6%. At the simple interest of 6%, right? How much interest does he get in three years? How much interest does he earn, or he gets, is the same thing, he get in 3 years, right? So question is asking that what is interest, and formula is there. I is equals to P times R times T, but we have to figure it out that what is P. P is the principal amount which he has submitted into the bank account. So $500, right, is the P. And the simple interest rate is given 6%. And then the time is also given, which is in years, 3 years. And what is unknown? Unknown is interest. So you can find out interest by the simple formula, which is I is equals to P times R times T. So interest will be equals to P times 500 times R, which is 6%, 6 divided by 100, times T, which is 3. So if you calculate it by calculator, you will get $90, right? Because 100 times 5 is 100 times 1 is 100, 100 times 5 is 500. So 5 times 6 is 30, 30 times 3 is 90, right? So $90. $90 will be the interest which he receives in 3 years. If he put into the bank account $500 into a bank account at the simple interest of 6%. So in this formula for the simple interest, I is equals to PRT. You may have other questions like the questions like they give you few quantities, like there are 4 quantities in this formula, and they give you 3 of them and say that find the missing quantity. Sometimes P is missing, sometimes R is missing, whatever, like out of 4 quantities, 3 are given and you have to calculate the 4th missing term. So if the question says that, okay, question, find the value of the missing term, find the value of missing term. So we know that if there are 4 terms in the formula, 3 of them are known, right? So we can find the 4th one. So we can see the first part here, that if P is, let's say P is 3600 and R is 7.25%, right? And I is $1,957.50. And he's saying what is missing now? P is known, R is known, I is known. So that means time is missing, right? So time is missing. And you can change your formula into the time form, or you can put the values into the same standard formula and then manipulate the things for calculating T. So both ways are correct. If I say that, okay, I need T, so I need T as isolated. So I have to bring this thing, P and R, underneath I, right? P times R. So this is my formula for T, right? So T is equals to I is given 1957.50 divided by P is given, which is 3600. R is given 7.25%. Remember, If it is percent, then 100 will go up, right? So 7 point, or both ways are correct. If you want to find out 7.25 divided by 100, you can calculate it here. So this decimal will place 2 digits to the left. So this will be 0.00 to the left. One is there, so 0.0725, right? You can use this factor, or you can use 7.2%, right? 7.2% means 7.2 divided by 100. When you calculate this time, this calculation, you will get your time, which is 7.5 or 7.5 years. It's always in years, remember, right? So we calculate the missing term. You have to remember the formula, or if you don't want to manipulate it in terms of t, you say, okay, I will only remember this formula, and that is also fine. So we will substitute all values in here, and then we isolate it for t. So we will say I is equals to 1957.50 is equals to p, which is 3600, which is times r. R is 7.25 divided by 100 and times t, right? So now we have to calculate t or isolate t, right? So we keep this t here alone as isolated, and then we see what happened. This is in the denominator, so it goes into the other side of the equation. 1957.50 times 100, right, divided by 3600. This will go into the denominator, and then 7.25. And if you calculate this amount, it also comes the same as 7.5 or 7.5 years, right? So, so years. Time is always in years in this formula. So this is need to be remember all the time. Now we do another question, which is P is equals to 8,300 and T is given 1 year and 3 months. We did already this 1 year and 3 months means, right? And R and I is given, which is 207.50, right? So what we need to calculate, what is missing term here? R, or rate, is missing, right? So rate is missing. So again, you will say, okay, I will use only the formula which say I is equals to P times R times T, and I will plug in the value and then isolate my R, right? So both ways are correct. You can modify the formula for R in the first place, or you can plug in the values and then modify it, right? So I is equals to 207.5, P is 8,300 times R is unknown times T. We did this 1 year and 3 months means 1 and a 1 by 4. That means 1.25 years, right? 1 and a 1 by 4 or 1.25 years. So we will write here 1.25. Now we calculate R, which and isolate it. So all these things which are multiplying here with R, will go to the other side of the equation and sit in the denominator. So 207.50 divided by 8,300 and divided by 1.25. If you calculate this portion, it will turn out as 3.6%, right? So this is my rate. So in these questions, whatever is missing term, we need to calculate the missing term, right? So sometimes for I is simple, right? If somebody is asking for I, so interest, right? Interest is equals to P times R times T. Say it several times so that you can remember it or memorize it. What is I equals to? P times R times T. And if P, R, T are given, you need to multiply them. So as in this question, let's take this example. So if P is $2,500 and R is 9% and T is 5 years, right? It's always years, is always dollars, and we need to calculate I. So I is equals to P times R times T. What is I? I is interest in dollars. P is principal, which is 2500 times R, which is 9%, times T, which is 5 years in this case. So when we calculate this whole thing, it comes out to be how much? $1125, right? So this is my interest. So in any of the case, if 4 variables, I is equals to P times R times T, 4 variables, if any of the 3 variables are given, we need to calculate the 4th variable. This question is called find the missing value or missing terms. So they did not provide you the formula. If they narrate it in the terms of word problem, even you have to figure it out what your P, the principal, the rate, and the time to calculate interest. Hope you like the video. If you like it, subscribe my channel, press the bell icon button to receive another video. Thank you for watching.